Council meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jennifer, roll call please, and let's call you Leslie.
Capely.
Here.
Guitar.
Here.
Plynett.
Here.
Woodkey.
Here.
Mayor Booms.
Here. Any corrections or additions to the agenda? I have one addition under approval of bills. One had letter G, Bisher Farms, $1,700, $1,700 for sheet piling freight. Bisher Farms, approval of bills for $1,700 for sheet piling freight.
Make a motion to approve the agenda with that addition.
Capely.
Motion by Woodkey, second by Klein to approve the agenda with the one addition. Any other discussion? Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Plynett.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye. During 5 days, the agenda is approved. Approval of minutes. We have the February 18th, 2020 council meeting minutes, the February 24th special council meeting minutes, the February 24th DPW committee meeting minutes, the February 24th water committee meeting minutes, and the February 24th administration committee meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve said minutes.
Second that. Motion by Capely, seconded by Guitar to approve the finance minutes. Any discussion? Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Plynett.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye. During 5 days, the minutes are approved. Approval of bills. March 2020 bills totaling $283,471.93.
Make a motion to approve March 2020 bills for $283,471.93.
Second that.
Motion by Guitar, seconded by Capely to approve the March 2020 bills for $283,471.93. Any discussion? Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Plynett.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye. During 5 days, the March 2020 bills are approved for payment. Bond payments totaling $237,017.92.
Make a motion to approve the bond payments of $237,017.92.
Second that.
Motion by Plynett, seconded by Woodkey to approve the bond payment for $237,017.92. Any discussion? It's to the Bank of New York Mellon for retention basin, principal and interest, $237,017.92. Any other discussion? Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Plynett.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye. During 5 days, the bond payment is approved for payment. Townley Engineering LLC for $2,155.
I make a motion to approve the Townley engineering bill.
Second that.
Motion by Woodkey, seconded by Capely to approve the Townley Engineering invoice for $2,155. Any discussion? That is from Townley Engineering for, it's in part of our SAW grant that we were awarded. Engineering, 1.5 hours for engineers and $120 per hour. Project technician 1, 6.25 hours at $50 per hour for a total of $2,155. Any other questions in regards to the Townley Engineering invoice? Motion by Woodkey, second by Capely to approve the Townley Engineering LLC invoice for $2,155. Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Plynett. Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye. During 5 days, the Townley Engineering invoice is approved for payment. Zimmer Roofing and Construction Limited for $50,929.
Make a motion to approve Zimmer Roofing Construction, the amount of $50,929.
Second that.
Motion by Capely, seconded by Guitar to approve the Zimmer Roofing and Construction Limited invoice for $50,929. Any discussion? That is for the roof down at the wastewater treatment plant. It was on the main building, the centrifuge building, the digester building, and the holding tank. The building is for 80%. Balance, that actually, we're going to pay the whole thing. Because right now, the original they built for $40,743 with a balance of we have $10,186. They were going to hold that back until they were done.
Are they good?
They're not.
Okay.
I know we have to put metal wall panels on the facade yet, and they can't finish up their gutter until that's done.
Okay.
Well, we
It's
can,
probably a typo.
Can approve it, just hold back.
yeah, approve that, and I think just hold back that 10,193, make sure that's what it is. But when I talked to Mark Winter from Zimmer, he told me he had to come back later after the wall panels are done to install the gutter. And that's basically what he's holding back is, you need to complete edge metal, gutter, and downspout, which isn't done yet.
Okay.
So we'll approve the 50,929, but we'll hold back that 10,186 until the gutters and downspout and the edge metal is completed.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Got a motion by Capelin, a second by Guitar to approve the Zimmer Roofing and Construction Limited invoice for $50,929. Call for question.
Capelin.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye, during 5 days, Zimmer Roofing's invoice is approved for payment. Mortimer Lumber invoice totaling $1,784.80.
Motion to approve the Mortimer lumber bill for $1,784.80.
Second that.
Motion by Planet, second by Woodkey to approve the Mortimer Lumber invoice for $1,784.80. Any discussion? That is lumber for our launch ramps,
Correct.
which was not part of our Marina Grant program. The framework and everything else is in good shape. We're having that sandblasted and repainted, and we're installing new treated lumber on the launch ramps. So that's what that is for. Any other questions or discussion in regards to the Mortimer Lumber invoice? Okay, a motion by Climate, second by Woodkey to approve the Mortimer Lumber invoice for $1,784.80. Call for question.
Capelin.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye. During 5 days, the Mortimer Lumber invoice is approved for payment. New Core Skyline Steel LLC, $26,223.61.
Make a motion to approve Nucor Skyline Steel for $26,223.61.
Second.
Motion by Guitar, seconded by Clamp to approve the New Core Skyline Steel invoice for $26,223.61. Any discussion? It's for sheet piling down at the marina. We picked up some test sheets for $1,880.93, and we had some tiebacks for $2,008.70. And then 86 sheets at $22,333.98, for a total of $26,223.61, and this is all part of the Marina grant. And this will be used along ADOC,
Well, hey,
yep, we're next to the water's edge.
start driving on Wednesday, but for sure Thursday.
Any other questions or comments regarding Nucor and Skyline? Motion by Guitar, second by Climate to approve the Nucor Skyline Steel LLC invoice totaling $26,223.61. Call for question.
Capelin.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye, during 5 days, the Nucor Skyline Steel invoice is approved for payment. Bisher Farms invoice for $1,700.
Make a motion to approve Bisser Farms bill for $1,700.
Second that.
Motion by Climate, seconded by Capelin to approve the Bisher Farms invoice for $1,700. Any discussion? That is for freight for delivering the test sheets for the sheet piling and for the 86 sheets of sheet piling and the tiebacks. It's actually a really good freight rate. Where did that come out of?
Belpre, Ohio,
Ohio.
almost West Virginia.
So we split some, we saved on some freight because Bisher was already going that way, and they picked this up on the way back while they were empty, so otherwise it would have been a lot more money than to hire a freight company.
The tiebacks came out of Georgia, and that was included in the Newport bill.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments in regards to the Bisher Farms invoice? I think we've used Bisher Farms several times in the past on stuff, and it's worked out pretty good for us. Okay, a motion by Climate, second by Capelin to approve the Bisher Farms invoice for $1,700. Call for question.
Capelin.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Booms.
Aye, during 5 days, the Bisher Farms invoice is approved for payment. Public comment. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here to represent the farmers market,
Okay.
and we had submitted our new contract for this year, and I understand that there was a question about the Harbor Beach bucks that we were giving away last year. There is a big concern about this, because when they were first given to us to use as promotional, actually it wasn't given to us. We bought the Harbor Beach bucks to be able to give away. We were able, as vendors, to go to the bank when people spent them to us, with us, and the bank would give us money for them, which was wonderful. All of a sudden, the bank said, no, you can't do that. You have to go to one of the chamber's businesses and spend them there. Well, we have vendors from Carsonville, Caseville, Sebewaing, Sandusky, that, you know, it's okay that they're taking the Harbor Beach bucks, but maybe they're not gonna do their individual shopping. You know, this is their income. It's not something that is just extra money that they're gonna be used. And for a while, we were taking the Harbor Beach bucks from the other vendors that couldn't get to the bank during bank hours and trying to get in for them. But we would like to just do away with the Harbor Beach bucks. We're still gonna have drawings every week. We want to draw in more vendors, for one thing. And with more vendors, we're gonna have more business, which means more people are gonna be coming to the city. So that's our biggest.
And the vendors, we use the vendors' money to promote the market, to give them away. We want them to spend them at the market and in town. Well, now our vendors are being punished. You know, when they're done at the end of the day, they want to pack up and go home to Sandusky, Carsonville, whatever. Now here they've got all these Harbor bucks. They're going to shop in their own town, not here. And there are not that many businesses here in Harbor Beach that makes this worthwhile. We want to do more of a maybe market bucks, where they can spend at the market, which is our whole thing, is to make our vendors be more profitable so we would get more vendors. If they make money, they're going to want to be at our market. But if they can't accept the Harbor bucks, why are we using their money to buy the Harbor bucks? And they can't accept them because they don't live here.
So your rules and regulations will be on the committee meeting on Monday, next Monday at 7 o'clock. So we can talk about it more there, because this is just public comment.
Well, we're kind of under pressure.
We have people waiting for contracts.
They're calling us on Facebook, or posting on Facebook, where's the contracts, where's the... We're really late getting contracts out. We wanted to get them out tomorrow. We're going to do email instead of saving us money. And we've got a whole list of people that we're just sitting ready to get these emails out. Here's the new rules, minor changes, and the contract, so we can get our vendors lined up.
So this,
People that do markets, and I have many years of experience, they don't start thinking about it in April. They really start thinking in January, February. So the first week of March, we're a little behind the 8 ball getting this information to them.
and we just got the information last Monday given to us,
Well,
when we showed up for the committee meeting. So we didn't have it even in advance. So for us to, and there was nobody here from your organization to talk to us, to explain anything, so it's got to go on the next
well, I
committee.
came in 2 weeks ago and I was told that I had to submit the changes.
Yes.
And then I would be able to discuss it at the next council meeting,
Committee meeting,
committee meeting, or
which
whatever.
was last Monday.
So, well, my assumption was the first Monday, and I told Bobby, I handed them the changes, and it should be discussed the first Monday in March. And then hopefully we would get it approved.
It got delivered to us at the first committee meeting, or the last committee meeting, which was last Monday. So nobody was here to discuss it, we didn't have to the agenda, we didn't discuss it because there was changes, we have to look into it. So it will be on the next committee meeting, and it will be pre-approved at the next council meeting if everything goes through. So,
Well, I don't understand why this is such a we're only asking to change our prizes for a market. Why this has to take this much time?
It doesn't take, this isn't any longer than it normally takes. This is in the same way every year. Once we get it, it goes to committee, the committee talks about it, makes a recommendation to council for approval.
Well, I wish somebody would have told me when I came in and handed over the changes, you need to be at the committee meeting, not the council meeting. Nobody said that to me. Nobody's informed us of, the only thing I knew
Once
is that
again,
we had to give.
this is public comment. I'm having a discussion with you, and that's not how we usually handle public comment. I'm just trying to help you along, but proper procedure has to go to committee. We did not get it until just before the committee meeting. So I don't know when you gave it to City Hall here. I was understanding it was given that day, which was a week ago from today.
You presented a point just now that none of us even thought about. So there's no way we could make a decision on it. Never thought about the vendors using the Harbor Beach butts. You know, before it was always a thing for the chamber. So you presented a good
We
reason.
had
I wonder
a
when the bank won't allow
discussion
the
last
crowd in.
year. We had a discussion with Bob last year, and we told Bob that we're just gonna give cash out. We're not gonna give, if the chamber is gonna put that kind of restriction on us, we wanna do we'll just give cash out. He handles the money. He goes, no, no, no. And then we decided and compromised and said, we'll end last year with giving out the Harbor Bucks, but we want to change it. So this change was told to Bob Schwartz last year. This is not a new.
But you understand,
Well,
Bob Swartz does not make the decisions here. He's not
I'm
the council anymore.
responding to him saying this is
Once
all
again,
new.
once again, I want to keep this to public comment. Next Monday is the committee meeting. You can discuss it there, and you can sit right at the table and discuss it right across the table from us. We can't do anything right now. This is public comment. It's not question and answer, it's public comment. And people don't understand that. You can't do this. And just going back real quick, when I was here when we approved the farmer's market. The farmer's market was approved to promote the city of Harbor Beach and its businesses, not just the vendors coming to the farmer's market. So that's what it was for. It was to promote the businesses in our community. We get people to town to expose our businesses to more people.
And we do.
And we do.
That's great.
And
I'm
it's
just
not
stating a
just
fact.
the businesses,
I know.
it's the city of Harbor Beach. To get, it's increased with, thank God Lori, the museum, she's had a tremendous year last year with visitors stopping in this town. It's to make this city more viable and
Exactly. Totally agree. That's exactly what it was for.
I don't need to do this. I could retire. I'm doing it because I like this city. I've been here
And we
7
appreciate
years.
it. We appreciate you, everything you do, just like when Bob ran it, we appreciate everything Bob did too. Yep. I think a lot of us here volunteer our time for a lot of worthy causes, and it goes unappreciated lots of times, but we as a city council appreciate everything you guys do during the farmer's market.
Well, it's just a shame that we're being held up on things I didn't know, Bob didn't know. I wish I would have known.
We will let the people that have been contacting us for contracts know the problem,
You
and
know.
they can address it.
Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. Next
All
Monday at 7
right,
o'clock
we'll
p.m.
be here.
All right. Any other public comment?
Good evening. So recently came up to me about questions regarding historical sites and the way that they were funded. And so as a resident of Harbor Beach and my incredibly amateur investigative skills, I learned that they were owned by the city. So I thought that coming to the city to discuss how our historical sites were funded was a fitting start. So I sent an email to Mayor Booms and let him know that I would be here this evening. And between when I sent that email to Mayor Booms and now, I've had a lot of conversations with other folks who live here. And the conversation that continues to happen is, I hope there's a plan. So I guess my comment tonight is not about past projects that have happened there or about pillars, but more about the future. And all buildings, all infrastructure systems, all marinas need capital improvement projects. Historical structures more so than most facilities just because they're old and they're aging. So my hope is that the City of Harbor Beach has a robust plan for capital improvements that will need to take place at the multiple historic structures that the city owns. If that's not the case, I think there's no time like the present to come up with some type of capital improvement plan that would ensure these assets that have been entrusted to the city have the dollars necessary to be maintained, including structural improvement projects that may come up in the future. Additionally, if you look at the historical structures that the city currently owns, there's a robust volunteer base that support those historical structures. So if we're looking at a long-term plan down the road to ensure their viability, to ensure their structure remains sound, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't look at what happens when we no longer have those volunteers. And coming up with some type of plan that the city would have a contingency plan of worst case scenario, we don't have any more volunteers that are doing some of the staffing and the day-to-day curation of these historical sites. That still falls back to the city to keep them open and available to the public per the agreements. So that is where I'm at, and I've had the pleasure of talking to a lot of other members of our community who weren't able to be here tonight, but share the same sentiment about ensuring that we have a plan, that the city has a plan to take care of the historical structures that they own.
Okay. So I sent you some emails, you can go back and forth, Mackenzie, right? So Parks and Rec is where we really need to be going. Meetings one-on-one with specific things is fine. Ron heard everything you had to say. I've shared him emails that you and I have traded back and forth, so Ron's well aware of everything's going on.
So are those included in the, sorry, no, are they included in the Parks and Rec plan?
There's nothing in the Parks and Recreation plan for that. 5-year plan. It's not a 5-year plan project. Any issues that have come up with the Grace Museum, the Murph Museum, whether it's the roof, whether it's painting, whether it's structural integrity issues, it gets handled immediately when there's a problem.
Right, and that's why I'm asking about future plans when there's larger structural issues. So even though it's not in the Parks and Rec plan, the Parks and Rec committee is still where
Parks
it
and Rec
would be
Commission.
talked about?
That's actually the commission. Yep,
Okay.
that's where that all begins.
Okay.
You're more than welcome to come up here and meet with me or Ron or whatever else you want to do. We can put it on a regular committee meeting, but it's the Parks and Rec Commission that ultimately runs the Parks and Recreation Department.
Okay.
So City Council here takes their recommendations and approves them. But, you know, I don't know if you've heard all the history of all they've done there. Those columns we replaced them about 10 years ago. So that was a patch and repair that we did last year when we painted the Murph Museum. And obviously the patch failed miserably. so there's other options. I thank you for making us aware of that. Like I said, I have a passion for Harbor Beach history and I love the historical buildings. One of the things I tell people about when they come here is Frank Murphy and Judge Lincoln and the history about them. People don't realize who Frank Murphy was, that he was the United States Supreme Court Justice, you know. And if people don't read the bronze plaque down there, that he wrote the century remarks to the Japanese American internment camps in the United States. I mean, it's all great history that nobody really understands or really knows anymore. It's there and it's on a bronze plaque, and it's very important to me. And like I said, I love telling people that and tying it into the buildings in Detroit with Judge Lincoln and Frank Murphy on the buildings down there. So it's very important to me as well. So with that being said, like I said, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, and then like I said, Ron as well, what's going on. So we'll get back together with you in the near future and go with that.
Just a quick question, is there like a definition somewhere or documentation that describes what a volunteer organization is responsible for versus what the city is responsible for?
That I don't know. Yeah, we have to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think for the most part, the volunteers are taking care of running the stuff and maintaining the interior
Do
of the
you
display.
want me to answer the question?
If you want, yeah.
This is citizens' comments.
Sure, public comment. It's good. You don't have to be a citizen to answer a question, maybe anybody.
The city, the last probably 15 years, has hired a person this year. Lori's down there, and then Ms. Artika at the Grice, the city employee. so the city pays for their entire wages. They maintain the lawn, they maintain the buildings, they pay the heat, the water, the sewer bill, and if there's any improvements that need to be done to the building. Since I've been here for 19 years, the Murphy house has been painted 3 times. The Grice windows have been painted twice. We replaced the Grice windows. The roofs on all the buildings have been replaced. We've this year changed the furnace in the big house. The awnings are getting redone as we speak in Saginaw for the Murphy Museum. We did an assessment of the outbuildings at the Murphy Museum, and the professional person that we do a lot of work with indicated that they could probably wait another year before they're painted. So 2 years ago, we painted the law office and the visitor center. So it's kind of on a rotating basis. The porches get painted practically every year, whether they need it or not, just because of the layout of how it works. So there's always ongoing. Sunrise Electric is rewiring the law office this winter. So there's our budget last year. We spent $14,000 at the Murphy Museum. This year we have $10,000 budgeted to operate that complex. In the Grice Museum, last year was higher than that. This year it's a little bit lower because we don't have any major projects there.
25,000 this year.
And I think in what the groups do, the Friends of the Murphy and the Grice Museum people, when they raise money, they don't give us the money to operate the facility. And even with the windows, they gave us a donation for the windows, but it didn't cover the cost of the windows.
Certainly, and other clubs within the community also donate for repairs, and our Rotary Club also did a big project there last year. So I understand it takes a lot. My question was just where the responsibility falls, and if it does fall on volunteers, that's important for our community to rally behind. And if we know that, then we can create plans for succession, et cetera. But thank you for explaining.
I think I spoke at the Lions Club meeting this year, and for the Christmas party, and I encourage everybody to go to the Grice Museum and go to the Murphy Museum, because there's probably a lot of people in our own community that haven't been there since they were a child or have never been there. And it costs next to nothing to go there, and it's all Harbor Beach history. And Grice Museum, of course, is not necessarily just the city, but it's still the Harbor Beach area history. So it's both those facilities are tremendous facilities and huge assets to our community, but they're underutilized by our local citizens. So yes. So
thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
One more thing.
Sure.
Mayor, from the standpoint from the recreation plan, we do that on a 5-year basis, and those facilities are mentioned in that plan. But the plan is geared more towards DNR grants funding, because it has to be outlined in that plan in order for us to apply for these grants that we get for the parks that we've been able to get the last few years. Restoration of historical buildings does not fall into that preview. So even though they're there, it's not outlined as far as what we're going to do down the road at those facilities. But trust me, if something needs to be maintained, like the column, maybe we should have did it last year. We looked at it, had a painter there, everything else was sound. Let's just fix it, paint it, and then, at some point we're going to need to change all the levels, and maybe we do it at that time. Same with the roof, the furnace, the awnings, the electrical. We try to do a little bit every year to maintain those best we can.
And just so everybody knows, I never would discourage anybody from speaking during public comment, but I run a pretty relaxed meeting, so typically this is what happens. We have public comment, and we usually don't have any discussion. So, but if you really want to talk in depth about stuff, it's always best to come to the committee meetings or the Parks and Recreation Committee meetings, or like I said, make an appointment to meet with myself or Ron or anybody at City Hall or on the council. We're all more than willing to talk together. It's a small town, I'm always around, my phone's always on, give me a call, so. Any other public comment? Yes?
Does the city have any plan when the coronavirus hits? Because it's 4 cases in Illinois. It's a pandemic, it's going to get. I'm not oh my God, but if I live in a harbor house, which has very older people, a lot of them have very compromised health issues. Is our hospital and the city prepared if it happens? I'm not, it very well. We're a tourist town. We all know that. North Park, the market, we all depend on our summer business. And if they start with these travel restrictions, we all could be economically affected by this. And we could have health issues in our town, and I think it is something that needs to be thought about.
I would defer that to the Huron County Health Department probably, because the city of Harbor Beach has no resources as far as battling the coronavirus. The Harbor Beach Hospital, I would assume that they're well informed as far as what's going on. I actually just spoke to a pre-med student over at Ferris State University, and he actually wrote a paper on it, so I mean they're talking about it at the college level. So the Huron County Health Department, which of course is ran by the state of Michigan, of course I'm sure that everybody's going to be on top of it if it gets to be that bad. So.
Well, I'll be there enough. I got operations this month, and I see Dr. Bradley well.
There you
So
go.
I'm checking it all out. But I just thought as a city that we could be affected by this if it keeps
Yeah,
spreading.
you never know. I mean, anything can happen, so we'll
Yeah.
but yeah, Huron County, I'm sure if it gets to be that big of an issue, that it'll be the state of Michigan be involved, and the Huron County Health Department be involved, and the
Right.
hospitals will be all on alert for that, so
And Michigan has no reported cases as of yet.
yeah. Yep.
But my neighborhood is 6.5 hours drive away. Well, I ain't been there, so I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on. We have the public hearing, 2020-2021 budget and truth in taxation. It is 7:32.
Make a motion to open the public hearing. Budget and truth and taxation.
Motion by Klein, seconded by Guitar to open the public hearing for the 2020-2021 budget and truth in taxation. Public hearing, call for question.
Capelin.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Fairgrounds.
Aye. Hearing 5 days, the public hearing is now open. Any questions or anything from the public comment from the citizens in the attendance this evening? Jennifer, last time I just have you kind of run through stuff right now during the public hearing, unless you want to wait until it's on the agenda, until it's later in the agenda.
No,
Whatever's good with you.
Right now.
That way if anybody's got any questions, they can ask now.
Sure.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
The millage rate, the biggest thing is that the operating millage rate is staying the same at 16.55 mils. And the 2000 bond debt retirement, that is now officially down to 0 mils. That's historically been about 3.36 mils every year for the last 20 years. And now that's rolling off. The other good news is it's not on here, but that drain assessment, which affected hundreds of homes in town, that's now 0 this year too. So that's good news for everybody. I guess I'd like to say that everything is business as usual for next year, and then I'd like to highlight the major projects that makes this next year's budget different than prior years. It's in the front page budget letter, the last paragraph. It says the major projects proposed in the attached budget are as follows. The general fund has budgeted to pave the First Street parking lot through the downtown streetscape, LED street lights, furnace system in the garage, DPW garage, new playground equipment, new tractor, Christmas lights for City Hall, pier maintenance, lakefront land purchase grant, and the police car grant, the water enhancement grant, waterfront enhancement grant, and the marina grant projects. The waterfront enhancement project was partially funded a few years ago by DTE, and they were that new fishing pier site, so we're still holding on. That money is still committed in the budgets. The street funds have budgeted to resurface parts of 3rd Street and some bridge crossings on North First and North 2nd Streets. The sewer plant has budgeted to move controls above ground at the lift station, purchase a DPW truck, and more saw grant mapping. The water plant has budgeted for some equipment replacement, particularly probably updating some valves. I'm not sure how many they're going to be able to do this next year, but that's I think where they're wanting to focus. And to purchase the sewer fund truck. The equipment fund has budgeted for a new dump truck with plow attachments, an F-150, an F-250 with plow attachments, and a new sewer jetter. We put some money aside to try to figure out a way to make a path to North Park, and the Bryce Fund windows is a big project that's also in this budget year. And that's quite a few projects, so other than that, it's business as usual.
That 3.36 debt millage, how long has that been on there? Is it?
That was a 20-year that ran from 2000, I believe, until 2019.
And what does that 3.36 mils equate to, say, on a house that's worth $100,000 with a $50,000 SEV? I did easy math with $100,000.
Calculator.
$100, so $100 savings in taxes off of a house that's worth $100,000. So if your SEV is $50,000, your house is worth $100,000, you're gonna save $150 a year. That's the debt millage, and that's gone. And that's been a variable rate for some time. That's got to fluctuate with the housing costs and our property tax income. So most recently it was 3.36 the last several years.
Right.
We stabilized it and got where it was covered. And the drain assessment was another assessment to a lot of people here in town. That came off the books too. So if we were good politicians, just say we lowered your taxes, but it happened no matter who is here. So, you know. So other than that, like Jennifer says, business as usual. We've got lots of projects. One of them in here is the streetscape downtown. A lot of questions have been asked in town as far as what happened to all the trees. And there's a good crowd here tonight, so maybe this joke can go even better. We're replacing them with parking meters. That's how we're going to fund future projects. You all want in front of your place too, Dr. Holwick?
No, but lately, between all the funerals and the dental office, it probably makes quite a bit of money.
But no, we're replacing the trees downtown. Every other tree will be a planter box, and we're going to patch the steel grates in with concrete, and that's all being talked about now with DPW Superintendent Mike Jurgis, and that'll happen here this spring, summer, and hopefully haven't done this year yet with everything, but the trees will be going in for sure, and the planter boxes as we have time. So that's what the streetscape fund money is for. Everything else certainly much self-explanatory. Any other questions or comments during the public hearing for Jennifer? Anybody else from the crowd got any questions? All right, it is 7:38.
We adjourn the public hearing.
Motion by Clement, seconded by Guitar to adjourn the public hearing. Call for question.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Guitar?
Aye.
Climate?
Aye.
Woodkey?
Aye.
Mayor Williams?
Aye. During 5 days, the public hearing is now closed. Unfinished business, there is none. New business, Resolution 2020-15, the 2020 and 2021 budget adoption.
A motion to approve the resolution 2020-15.
Second that.
Motion by Clement, second by Kinkling to approve the resolution 2020-15, the 2020-2021 budget adoption. Any discussion? Our budget year runs from April 1st through March 31st. I changed it here a few years back. That's worked out well for the city as far as tracking its bills and having to split things up between one season and the other with Parks and Rec. We're probably one of the worst ones because our season typically runs April 1st through March 31st for Parks and Rec. So works out pretty good. Everything else we kind of talked about during the public hearing. Any other questions or comments in regards to the budget adoption? Okay, a motion by Clement, second by Capelin to approve resolution 2020-15, the 2020-2021 budget adoption. Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Boots.
Aye. 35 yeas, resolution 2020-15 is approved. Resolution 2020-16, approving sewer rates summary.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2020-16.
Second that.
Motion by Woodkey, seconded by Capelin to approve the 2020-16 resolution approving sewer rate summary. Any discussion? Sewer rates, we have to approve them annually. We review them based on the sewer rate study from Plant Moran and Towing Engineering. And let's go back to the back page here.
There are no changes.
No changes. And then the only one that changes is that when it goes up on the 1st of July for the sewer rate test, the lab test fee.
Yes.
Yep. So everything's staying the same. Sewer rates, $6.57 per thousand.
37.
$6.37 per thousand, and this rate of surcharge is $16.75 per quarter. That stays the same, and the only thing that goes up is the lab test fee, which doesn't affect the residents. That is for testing stuff for industries and other things like that, right?
Yes.
So, that's that. Any other question in regards to the sewer rate summary? Motion by Woodkey, second by Capelin to approve resolution 2020-16 approving sewer rate summary. Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Boots.
Aye. 35 yeas, resolution 2020-16 is approved. Resolution 2020-17 approving additional documentation of the City of Harwich cross-connecting program.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2020-17.
Second that.
Motion by Guitar, seconded by Capelin to approve resolution 2020-17 approving additional documentation to the City of Harwich cross-connection program. Any discussion? The State of Michigan requires that we have a cross-connection program. This is actually an existing ordinance that we've already had, and this just adds a little more detail to it. What a cross-connection program is basically it's there to ensure that water from a person's house doesn't backfeed into the public water distribution system. So some of the examples I give in here is having a backflow preventer in your house, or say you have a garden hose attached to your hose bib outside and it's stuck in your hot tub or your pool. It actually can siphon the water back out of your hot tub or pool, back into your water pipes and back into the city water supply. So it's there to protect the community, and it's just something we got to have. It's fairly in depth. This was basically recommended by the State of Michigan. It's been law since the 70s, so it's been around. But they're getting more and more stricter here in recent years, just like everything else with the water, because of what happened over in Flint, and we want us to update our program, and this will take care of it. So, any other questions or comments in regards to the cross-connection program? Okay, motion by Guitar, second by Capelin to approve resolution 2020-17 approving additional documentation to the City of Harwich cross-connection program. Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Planet.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Boots.
Aye. Hearing at 5 yeas, resolution 2020-17 is approved. Resolution 2020-18, Memorial Day weekend citywide garage sales.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2020-18.
Second that.
Motion by Planet, second by Woodkey to approve resolution 2020-18, Memorial Day weekend citywide garage sales. Any discussion? Received a letter here from the Harwich Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce will be sponsoring the Memorial Day weekend city garage sales again this year. The Chamber is asking City Council for assistance with 3 items regarding the citywide garage sales. Number 1, the Chamber would appreciate the city waiving the garage sale permit fee for this weekend event. The Chamber also asks that the ordinance limiting the number of consecutive days the garage sale runs be suspended for this event. This allows sales to run the full length of the event, May 21st through the 25th, 2020. With Council's approval, the Chamber would like to include information regarding the citywide garage sales in the information regarding the citywide garage sales in the April water bill. Once we have City Council's decision on these 3 items, we will begin our advertising and promotion efforts. If you have concerns or questions, please contact me or email me. This is Kelly Jo Ozentowski, Community Promotions Director. So this is a formality. It's something we do every year. We waive the garage sale permit fee. We allow them to have the garage sales all weekend long if they choose to, and we insert it into the water bill. And I'm sure the envelope stuffers really appreciate that. Because we had a few more things in that envelope too, so it's a pretty thick envelope that's on there. So, it's the most important water bill of the year because it's got a lot of information there besides your water. So, any other questions in regards to resolution 2020-18? Yeah, motion by Klein, second by Woodkey to approve resolution 2020-18 Memorial Day Weekend City Garage Sales. Call for question.
Kipling.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Wilks.
Aye, hearing 5 days, resolution 2020-18 is approved. Looking for a motion to approve the use of Lincoln Park gazebo on August 15th, 2020 for a wedding ceremony.
Make a motion to approve, the wedding ceremony, yeah.
Second that.
Motion by Guitar, seconded by Capely, to approve the request for the gazebo to be used for a wedding ceremony on August 15th. Any discussion? Received a letter here dated February 23rd, 2020, to whom it may concern, and requesting the use of the gazebo at Lincoln Park on August 15th, 2020. The gazebo will be used for our wedding ceremony from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. that day. Thank you, Greg Luce and Lindsay Delpierre. So basically, when people want to request the use of the beach front or the gazebo, it's just a matter of getting up here and calling up City Hall, and we just like to coordinate to make sure there's no conflicts between different events going on that day. And we've had multiple weddings out there in the same day. It's worked out pretty good. And of course, multiple weddings throughout the summertime. Now it's a pretty popular location. And this might be our first request of the year, maybe second.
I think it was the second.
Second one. But no issues on August 15th, between 1 and 3, or 9 and 3. And we're just using the gazebo the way it looks. We're not even going to be using the beach area or the waterfront. So it should be good to go. Okay, and a motion by Guitar, a second by Capely to approve the motion to use the Lincoln Park gazebo on August 15th, 2020 for a wedding ceremony. Call for question.
Capely.
Aye.
Guitar.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Woodkey.
Aye.
Mayor Wilks.
Aye, during 5 days, that motion is approved. Council report, Sam?
I have nothing this week. No.
Kevin?
Good.
Al?
I have nothing.
Matt?
I have nothing.
The only thing I have here is we lost one of Harbor Beach's most famous people this past week here. Leonard Pick-Dufresne passed away here earlier this week. If you guys didn't get a chance to meet Pick while he was around, you missed your chance because he was quite a unique individual with lots to say. I actually saw him on December 31st, the day before his 100th birthday, and we actually moved a hospital bed out of this place for the Lions Club. I took my 2 boys over there, and before we left, I made them come back inside. And when you go back inside to talk to Pick, it was never a couple-minute conversation. We were there for another 30 minutes listening to him talk and tell stories. So I really treasure all the conversations I had with Pick. He always wanted to take me back to his history room and show me some stuff in his history room. And he was our local historian, and he would be missed dearly by our community. So there was only one Pick-Dufresne, and he's gone now. So, but he was quite the guy. We had him up here, and we honored him here at our council meeting after his 100th birthday, and had a resolution honoring him for turning 100 years old, and he made it up here, and he was really proud of making it to be 100 years old. He was shooting for 200, but he didn't quite make it. So, but yes, Pick-Dufresne will be missed. He was a member of the Lions Club. I'm a member of the Lions Club. He's a member of the KFC. He was a member there as well. He's a member of the Legion for 75 years, and I was a member of the Legion. So he was a city council for several years. Yep, back in the 80s and 90s. So he was really missed here in our community. So other than that, our next meeting will be March 30th, 2020 at 7 p.m. and that'll be our year-end meeting to take care of all of our loose ends, right, Jennifer? On the budget. It is 7:48.
Move we adjourn?
Second that.
Meeting adjourned.